Hello, I am Dr. Darnita L. Payton of Dr. Declutter Life Management, where an organized and functional life is our goal. We don't judge, we help. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by my channel today. I am so grateful that you are here. Please, before you leave, give this video a thumbs up. I would appreciate if you would subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video with at least 5 people you know. Again, I would greatly appreciate it. So today we are going to talk about overcoming self-sabotaging behaviors. When I'm teaching, I have my handy dandy clicker here. Just to the world, it's called a wireless presenter, but I like the sound of calling it the clicker. So we're going to talk about step away from the Twinkie, 5 ways to overcome self-sabotaging behaviors. As always, when I'm teaching, I have it. I'm used to looking at people, so if I look over there, it's okay. If I happen to look over there, it's okay. I'm looking at the imaginary people. I have virtual people, but I will do my best to make sure I come back and connect to you right here as well. So let's get started. This is a question for you, and no, it is not a rhetorical question. It's a question I'd like to know an answer. Self-sabotage. No, not me. Well, maybe. Does that sound like you? I know, we don't like to admit when we are, messing things up for ourselves, but we kind of all do it. We all have them, those often persistent and pesky, persky, that's not a word, behaviors that we engage in actively or passively that prevent us from living our lives to the best, prevent us from living the abundant life, prevent us from living our lives to the fullest. These behaviors often do not just affect one aspect of our lives. No, that would just be too easy. No, no. They tend to affect multiple areas of our lives. These behaviors do. They're pervasive, affecting us daily, whether it is our emotional, physical, psychological, spiritual, mental, or personal health, our spiritual lives, education, jobs, and careers. I told you they were pervasive. Now, I may use humorous examples, but that does not minimize the effect these behaviors have on our lives. So let's start the path to helping you overcome self-sabotaging behaviors. Again, does this sound familiar to you? Have you uttered that phrase in defense of behaviors that you exhibit or perform? Self-sabotage? No, not me. Okay, maybe. It may look different to you than it would to someone else. It may look different depending on the time of day, the time of the season. It just looks different. It may be because we're uniquely created, and although we share some common traits, things tend to affect us differently. But most behaviors share some general traits, and so we're going to talk about some of those today. Self-sabotaging behaviors create problems in our daily living, affecting the quality of our life, affecting our goal setting and achievement of those goals. And that's not a trip to bountiful at all. So we want to make sure that we can overcome this. All right, number 3, self-sabotaging behaviors and traits. So some of the most common self-sabotaging behaviors are likely quite familiar to you. So tell me down in the comments if any of these sound like you or someone you know. Because maybe you're asking for a friend. Procrastination. Now, I've said and will say again that I could fill my channel with teaching on procrastination. It's just that pervasive. So procrastination is my favorite, right? Yeah, it's my favorite one to hate. It is. I I hate it and despise it so much because it steals from us joy, time, and so much more. So were you surprised to see that on a list as self-sabotaging behavior? Hmm, probably, because procrastination is viewed as harmless sometimes and without serious consequences. We make jokes about it, we tease people about it, but it's a very serious thing, especially when it's pervasive and it has become sort of your go-to habit, if you will. Self-medication is another. How many of you all would have thought that was coming? That could be in the form of drugs, illegal or legal, alcohol or food. I mean, of course, there are more. But wait, you may be asking. Yes, food. Yeah, a lot of us sabotage ourselves with food. Another surprising addition to the list, right? You weren't expecting that one. Or if you were, let me know that you were expecting that one. If you were, gold star for you. So just think about this, the comfort or emotional eating that some of us do, which masks and soothes the problem like a drug, but we mask it without actually dealing with the problem. So it's a self-sabotaging behavior. Money. What? My 10-year-old nephew Jay would say, what? Yes, money. Self-sabotaging behavior, right? Now you're just messing with me. I know you're saying, but I promise you I am not. I promise you I'm not. Think overspending or think overbuying or lack of budgeting, which I'm going to cover in a series that I'm going to do called The Simple Life, where I talk about money, time, stress, and productivity. Self-sabotaging behavior, money. Yeah. So now that you have some idea of some of the self-sabotaging behaviors, let's identify a few traits. You are highly critical of yourself. I pause to give you a chance to say, yes, that's true, or no, that's not me. Or you speak negatively about yourself and to yourself. Never, that would never be me, you say. You get in the way of your own success. Raise your hand if you've been guilty. It's okay. Remember, this is a no judgment zone. It's okay. You repeat the same behavior, but you expect a different outcome. Again, any of these sound familiar? Have you engaged in any of these before? Of course, there are many, many more self-sabotaging behaviors and traits that I could talk about. The list could sadly be endless, but for sake of time, I just wanted to focus on a few. So let's move forward to the 5 ways you can overcome self-sabotaging behavior. Okay, number 1, identify your weaknesses. Now, I write about this in my book, and people generally say, well, why would I want to identify a weakness? Some of you are going to bristle at that when I understand. The thought of claiming any type of weakness is seen as a weakness. But think about it this way. In my view, a weakness is simply an opportunity for you to get better, for you to grow towards the goals and the strengths that you desire. So retrain your thinking on what a weakness is. It's an opportunity for you to grow. So identifying your weaknesses is an entire chapter, like I said in my book. And so we will only scratch the surface here. But yeah. Also remember I said that I would use some humorous examples to drive home the point of self-sabotaging behaviors. But again, I want to repeat, this is in no way making light of the seriousness of the situation that you may be facing. So here we go, Twinkies. Yes, Twinkies, those delightful little cream-filled yellow sponge cakes of deliciousness. Never met one. Okay. Never met 2. Okay. If I'm going to be completely honest, never met an entire box. Do not judge me. That I did not like and did not want to eat the entire box. Disclaimer. I rarely eat sugar, so I'm talking about my past. So in the rare case that I do eat a Twinkie, um, okay, let's be honest. I've never just eaten a single Twinkie. Not in my past, and probably now, if I were to even buy a box of Twinkies, it would not just be, this is not Lay's, and well, you can't eat just one. It's true for Twinkies too. So just want to be transparent here. Never, ever, ever have I just eaten a single Twinkie. So I guess that should be full. But I digress. This is not about me and my former Twinkie. So, but eating that much sugar, especially for me, has a negative effect on and consequences on my body because it's not used to sugar. So likely I just wouldn't buy them. Don't want to tempt myself, don't want to sabotage myself by bringing something in that I know that I like and would end up eating the entire box. So, again, no judgment. Just a note to avoid the Twinkies, as I just said, I just won't buy them because if I buy them, I'm going to eat them. And again, I don't want to put a stumbling block in my way. And that may be you for something else. And we'll talk about that and figure that out a little more. Because I think about it this way, if I were to buy them and, they happen to survive the ride home in the car, they likely wouldn't survive, in the house. The entire box would be devoured. So knowing that about myself, I just don't bring them in. Again, don't judge me. And I realize that, the solution to the behaviors that you're dealing with may not be as simple as don't buy the Twinkies or don't eat the Twinkies. But the same principle applies. You try to avoid or replace the self-sabotaging behaviors with something that's more productive. And we'll talk about that a little more as we go on. But just again, keep in mind that in order to deal with an issue, you have to identify it. So if your issue is procrastination, self-medication, or money management, or anything else, you have to first identify your area of weakness. After having done that, we're going to move on to number 2. All right. Number 2 is to redirect. Have you ever been lost and your GPS instructed you to make a U-turn or stated it was redirecting or rerouting you? That's number 2 for you to overcome self-sabotaging behavior. So when you make a poor choice or decision, you just redirect, you reroute. Does that make sense? So you've made the decision, you go back to the place where you made the poor choice for the decision and you self-correct. So again, you redirect yourself, if that makes sense. So continuing on the humorous path here, let's just say accidentally, but on purpose, I decided to buy the Twinkies. You all didn't think the Twinkies were gone, did you? Yeah, I'm going to use this Twinkie example probably throughout the entire video. But again, so I bought the Twinkies and I bring the Twinkies home. To redirect, I would likely just give them away because I know, again, Twinkies in my presence, never met one that, to entire box, that I didn't want. So maybe I would give them away. But I just want to be honest with you, that's never happened. But I'm saying if I found myself in that situation, that's what I could do. That would be an option. I could give them away. There's always hope. Or I could leave them in the car, the more likely scenario. So I buy them and I leave them in the car. Why would you leave them in the car, you may ask? Well, I'm redirecting here. So removing the thing from which I would be drawn, redirecting to the place I was, so as not to change my behavior. So just to know, why would this work, you might ask? I sometimes deal with what I've termed the L gene, and that's L as in lazy. So for me, the urge to eat a Twinkie or two or an entire box would not override my lack of desire to go all the way to my car to get them. That works for me. Again, I'm redirected. And I would have to be redirected to what's in the house, closer to me. That's the allergen in effect. So we use what we need to do to get done what we need to get done. So after identifying your weakness and redirecting to a place before the poor choice or decision, we go on to the next one. All right, accountability. Some people love this word and some people detest it. I actually really like it. So use an accountability method or an accountability partner. Having someone or something that we can depend on and be held accountable by and to when we are dealing with these self-sabotaging behaviors is an important aspect to overcoming these behaviors. So when you find yourself in a challenging place, and you will find yourself in a challenging place, and that's okay, we just don't want you to stay there, an accountability method or an accountability partner would come in handy to help you to redirect from that poor choice or that poor decision. A method I could use in my goal not to buy Twinkies would to be use the shopping list, which I will talk about in my series, The Simple Life. I am very big on, using lists because I believe that they are so helpful in guiding you towards the place that you need to go and keeping you from doing things impulsively. So I am a big believer in lists, and I would definitely encourage you to use a list. Okay. And you may say, well, how does a list help? Well, again, if it's on your phone or on a piece of paper, you're less likely to engage in it because your mind is going to be focused on the things that are on your list. Without a list, it's just kind of a free fall and it makes it a little more difficult. So, again, I would just encourage that you use a list. That way it can, keep you from, and your list doesn't have to be for shopping because I'm talking about Twinkies, but it can be about anything that you're dealing with in your life, any behavior that you're trying to overcome. Your list could contain things that say, today I'm not going to speak negatively to myself, or I'm going to give myself some grace, or I know that I'm dealing with this issue, but I know that I can overcome it. So it could be a list of encouraging words to yourself. It could be encouraging Bible verses, anything that's going to help you through and over the self-sabotaging behaviors. That's what needs to be on your list. Okay. So now that we've talked about what should be on your list and making sure that you have an accountability partner to help you reach your goals. And again, if you have any questions about that or you want some guidance on developing your list, leave me a comment down in the comment section and I would love to answer that for you. So let's talk about an accountability partner. So we already have the accountability list, and your accountability partner is a person who commits to helping you reach your goals that you have set to turn yourself away from these self-sabotaging behaviors. And then, so this is a reciprocal relationship. You could help them if they're having some issues as well. So it's not a one-sided relationship. Reciprocal does not mean codependent. Just make sure that both methods, the list, the positive self-speak, the accountability partner, are effective, and especially that your accountability partner is available, dependable, and honest, and especially supportive. Because if you face a decision and you don't have someone that you can turn to, you may be more apt to make the poor choice or to make the poor decision. So make sure when you pick that person that it's someone who is dependable, honest, and supportive. And of course, you are personally responsible for yourself. So I'm not saying that you put onto your accountability partner uh, responsibility for your decisions. That's not what I mean. You are ultimately responsible for your own behaviors, not your partner, because no one can and should bear the responsibility for your choices and decisions. They're just there to help support you and maybe point out when you are about to, take the wrong path or make the wrong decision. So that's really what an accountability partner is there to do to help you. So the accountability method, and the accountability partner are simply tools you can use to help you overcome your self-sabotaging behaviors. Does that make sense? I hope that it does. So now you've identified your weaknesses, you've redirected to a place before the poor choice or decision, and you've identified and hopefully use it or will use an accountability method or partner. So next is to, you see it there? I'm waiting for you. Tell me what it says. It does. And this is one that I think people struggle with the most. Forgive yourself. In my experience working with my clients in the past, this one seems to be the most difficult for people to master. So let me just encourage you to show yourself some grace and offer forgiveness as well. As I stated, often we are our most highly critical. We speak the most negatively about and to ourselves. So we don't need anyone else to tear us down. We do a really good job of that ourselves. So hopefully I'm encouraging you that you will not do that because you don't want to repeat the same behavior and expect a different outcome. So despite, all of those things, the way that you may talk to yourself, the poor choices, forgiveness is necessary. Now, forgiveness just as it is in real life, does not mean that you are condoning. And don't get me started. If you want me to do a video on forgiveness, because I was talking to someone about that, and if there's enough interest, I would definitely do that. Forgiveness does not mean that you condone the behavior or you condone what the person did to you. Forgiveness simply means that you accept their apology if they apologize, and if they don't, forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness says, yes, you hurt me. Yes, you've mistreated me, but I'm not going to allow myself to internalize that. And I feel horribly, and the person who hurt me is just bopping down the boulevard as if nothing has ever happened. So, again, if you'd like to see a video on forgiveness, please leave me a comment and give this video a thumbs up, and I would love to do that for you all. So, forgiveness is necessary. Forgiving yourself again does not absolve you of the choices you make and the decisions that you make. It does not relieve you from changing those self-sabotaging behaviors that we talked about and those that you have and you will identify after viewing this video. It does, however, allow you to accept the choice and decision that you've made, not berate or demean yourself, and learn what you need to learn from the experience so that you can move forward toward overcoming those self sabotaging behaviors. Forgiveness is a requirement for yourself, and I encourage you to embrace it. I really, really do. You will see your life change when you learn to see that your fallacies and that it's okay that you made a mistake when you stumble or you hit a roadblock or have to jump over a hurdle. Give yourself some grace and forgive yourself. All right. So you've completed the 5 ways to overcome self-sabotaging behaviors. Yay for you. You have identified your weaknesses. You've redirected to a place before the poor choice or decision, and you've identified a accountability method or an accountability partner and forgiven yourself. Now we move on to number 5. Pray. Now you knew this one was coming. And if you're not a Christian or you don't have a relationship with God, you can start now. It is never too late. Prayer is the final step on your journey as you use these 5 ways to overcome self-sabotaging behaviors. I know prayer may seem daunting to some, but if you think about it as just a conversation with God, it makes it a lot easier. Um, Talk to him as you're talking to, your dearest friend or that person that you love the most, knowing that he loves you even more than you can imagine. And so it becomes less intimidating that way. I know that when I'm in a situation and it seems too overwhelming for me, I start praying. Now, that prayer may be accompanied by a good cry because I believe in a good cry. It's a physiological release. It lets those emotions out. And I believe in a good cry during, before, and likely after. But the two combined always bring me back to one thing. I can do this. So I'm praying and crying sometimes at the same time. It reminds me that I can deal with this, that there is a solution out there and I can find it. I can overcome this. So that is my hope for you. That is my desire for you after looking at this video, that you know that what you're facing, that you can overcome. Please remember there is always hope. God is waiting for you to ask him into your heart, and he will help you overcome any self-sabotaging behaviors that you are dealing with in your life. I promise you, I know it to be true. I'm not just saying it. So, having gone through all 5, we are now going to cover what we just talked about. So, we know that you have to identify your weaknesses. You know that you need to redirect, and you know that you need an accountability partner or method. You have to forgive yourself, and I encourage you to pray. These 5 things together are a powerful force to overcoming self-sabotaging behaviors. And if you use them and use them regularly, you will see success. So, in closing, you have reached the end, but of course, this is actually just the beginning. And I'm so excited for you. I really hope that this video will help you overcome those self-sabotaging behaviors, the ones you've identified and the ones that you've yet to identify, that you will identify your weaknesses and that you have redirected to a place before the poor decision and the poor choice, and that you've identified that accountability method or partner, and that you have forgiven yourself and prayed. Know that you can and you will be successful. You have to tell yourself that. You have to remind yourself that this too shall pass. Hard times will not always last. And we are in some very difficult times right now. So I fully understand. And I am praying and hoping for each and every one of you who's watching this video. But I want you to know that you will hit a roadblock, and there will be times when you will stumble. There will be times when you will have to just get back up and keep moving. Do not give up. Going forward towards your goal is always what you strive to do. It will take commitment, it will take effort, it will definitely take time, but you will succeed. I believe in you, and I believe that you can do this. So please leave a comment on the behavior you are planning to work on, or the one you're currently dealing with, or the one that you're trying to find a solution to, or you found one. I would love to hear the successes as well. If you already overcome something, please share that and encourage someone else. And we will just support each other through this journey. So I appreciate you so much. And I hope that stepping away from the Twinkies, 5 ways to overcome self-sabotaging behaviors, has been beneficial to you. And again, leave a comment and let me know what you thought. Thank you again so much. This is me. I'm Dr. Darnita L. Payton. I'm a business owner, Dr. Declutter Life Management. I consult with people who have issues with hoarding and chronic disorganization and clutter. And yes, I did, excuse me, hoarders for 6 years. So if you saw me on there and you watched, I appreciate you. If you didn't watch, I understand that there is a resurgence of it on Netflix. So please go take a look, because many times I get a phone call or text or email saying, "Hey, I saw you on Hoarders. Do you remember?" Then I'll say, "I sure do. I was there." um, I am working on publishing my next book, and I hope that this has been inspiring to you. Again, here's all the information. If you'd like to reach out to me, I am at drdclutter.com, and that's drdclutter.com. If you are not looking at the screen right now, the humorous story is I tried to get drdclutter.com spelled the traditional way, D-E clutter, but someone else had it, and they weren't a doctor. But that's okay. It's okay. Forgiveness, right? So we roll with Dr. D, no E, clutter.com. And I am on the YouTube, obviously, because if you are watching this video, you're either watching it here or on my website. So I appreciate you so much. Again, please share this video with at least 5 people you know. Comment, like, and subscribe. And if you would like to reach out to me to send a personal note or ask a follow-up question, I would appreciate it. Funny story, when I gave out my email address in the last video, a lot of people sent their comments for the video to my email. And I said, I appreciate you so much, but YouTube can't see that. So it looks like no one's commenting on the video. But if you would like to reach out to me, I would gladly like to hear from you. But if you try and spam me, I will just block you. It's just that simple. Yes. So don't do that self-sabotaging behavior and get blocked. Don't do that. And podcast, blog, and videos, I always ask with question marks, because I would love to do those for you all if there's enough interest and you like to see those. So submit your topics at askdrdeclutter@gmail.com, and I will do my best to acquiesce. So thank you again so much for stopping by. And if no one has told you today how awesome you are, I want to let you know that you are absolutely, positively awesome. Take care. God bless. Bye.